Hello everyone, we are learning about C++ programming, and in today's video we'll be learning about variables, data types and keywords in C and C++. So first we will see about variables. Now what are variables? Now if we see, there are different storage spaces in the memory locations, and the name we will give to these storage spaces is called variables. Now if we see here, we have 4 blocks of memory, and the first block is named as ABC. This is the second block which is been named as XYZ. This is the third block named as num1, and the fourth block named as text45. So these are the variables. Variables can be any name. We can give any name to the variables. It can consist of alphabets or numbers and underscore. But the variable name should start with an alphabet. See here it starts with A, X, here N. If the variable name cannot start with a number, 4 ABC, this cannot be a variable name. So the variable name can be ABC, or it can be A44, 45, but a variable name cannot be 6YH, that is, it cannot start with a number. It must always start with an alphabet, and also the symbol that we can use is underscore. Underscore is the symbol that we can use for a variable. Now this is one variable. Now if we see, this is also case sensitive. So ABC is another variable, and capital ABC, this is also another variable. Both these names are not same, these are different variables because this case sensitive. Now why is this variable required? This is required because we have to store values. Now in this memory location I will store a value called 90. In this memory location I will store a value called 40. I have to store these numbers in these memory locations, and I have to use it. Now you have to use this 90. How I am going to retrieve it? I am going to retrieve it by using this variable called ABC. So just to store it and to retrieve a certain value, I am giving a name to this memory location. This is called a variable. Now in a programming language, how we are going to define a variable? We are going to use a data type and the name. Like we have seen data types like int and float. So I will write int ABC. So this is how I am going to declare a variable. That is data type int and the variable name. This is called as declaration. And I can declare multiple variables in one line. Like this is one variable, I can give comma, and I can declare another variable also num. Can also declare another variable called XYZ. So even in the single line with using only one data type, I can declare many variables. Now if you notice, I have just given the name as ABC. I have not given any value to ABC. So till I am not giving any value to ABC, num and XYZ, the value will be 0 or any random value will be stored. Until and unless I am not giving any value, it will be 0, the value will be 0, or any default values will be stored in the memory location. I can give the values as values in the next line also. I can give the values ABC equal to 10. So now this value will be interchanged as 10. Again I can write as num is equal to 30. So here the variable nums, this value will be changed to 30. Now there are two things called as declaration and initialization. What is declaration? In declaration I am writing a data type and I am giving a name as value. So this is the variable's name value. This is the data type. This is called as declaration. While I am declaring, I am not giving any value to the variable. So it will have any dummy value. This is called as declaring a variable, that is only naming the variable but not giving any value to it. What is initialization? Initialization is declaring as well as giving a value to a variable then and there. That is called as initialization. That is initializing the value to a variable. So we can give any name to this variable, but only that it cannot start with a number. We have to first letter always should be an alphabet. You can write it as abc20, abc underscore 20, any name we can give to a variable. So this is declaring a variable, only naming it, and this is giving value to it. It is called as initialization. Now the question is it necessary that I have to declare a variable in the first line of the code inside the void main? The answer is it is not necessary to declare it in the first line of the code. I have to declare it before I am using it. Now I am printing here, see I have declared and initialized a equal to 20, and I am also printing it. Now I can also b's value I can also declare it here. It's not necessary that I have to declare the value of b here in the first line. Before I'm going to use it, I have to declare the value of b. Next, there is a concept called global and local variables. Global variables are those which will be declared before the void main. If I am declaring any variable here, int a is equal to 20, then those variables are called global variables. Now what is the meaning of global variables is this global variable can be accessed or used throughout the program. Throughout the program, what I am going to write, I can use a's value in the entire program. But what is the local variable here? What are local variables? Here I have declared b is equal to 10. I am declaring b is equal to 10 inside this block. So only inside this block I can use the value of b. I cannot use the value of b outside this block. So this is called as local variables, which are defined or which has a local scope, a small scope. But global variables, I can also use it here. If I am writing any code also, I can use the value of a equal to 20. Inside this also I can print, inside this also I can print C out a's value. So a is a global, that is a has a very large scope. That is, in the entire program a can be used, but b can be used only inside the scope of this block. So this is the difference between global and local variables. The next concept that we'll be seeing is data types. What are data types? We have already seen data types like int and float. For int, data type is int a equal to 10. We can store any integer values, and in float data types we have seen we can store decimal point values. In float we can store decimal point values up to 7 digits. After decimals I can store 7 digits. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 digits, that is float. Now we have also another data type which is called as double a equal to, in double we can store up to, after the decimal point I can store up to 15 digits of numbers I can store. And the next is, there is one more thing called as a long double, where I can store 30 point, after the decimal point I can store up to 19 digits. So for float, if I have to store 7 digits after the decimal point, I'm going to use float. Double is I'm going to have 15 digits after the decimal point. For long double, I will be having 19 digits after the decimal point. So this was for numbers. I have also another data type called as short, wherein I can store 16 bits length numbers, and long data type I can store 32 bits length numbers values I can store in long. I also have another data types. There are also other data types called as char. In char is not for numbers, but it is for characters. Characters like a single character, it stores single character, that is you have to write it in single quotes. Char a equal to, it will store alphabets, that is single alphabet, and you have to store it like you have to write it in single quotes. One more data type is called as bool, and this bool is used to store, we'll use a variable a equal to true, and bool is a short form for boolean, that is it is going to store values true or false. I can store values like true and false for bool data type. So just like int and float, I have char, long, double and bool data types. This we will understand only when we use it in a program. Till then we only have to remember it that we have so many data types to store and use and retrieve different types of values. Next what we are going to see is keywords. What are keywords? Keywords are already defined words which has a certain meaning in a programming language. For example, char. Char is a data type. Void, we use it to start the program, like void main. Then we have main, we have int, float, all the data types. These are all keywords which is reserved, so we cannot use these keywords as a name of a variable. So keywords are already defined words which has a certain meaning, which is defined. We cannot use these names for a variable. There are other keywords like break, return, if, else, switch. These are the already defined words. So there are total 48 keywords, that is 48 reserved words are there which we cannot use it as the name of a variable which has been already defined to already do some else work. Next, one more concept we will see, and that is called as comments in C and C++. What are comments? Comments are those which the compiler will completely ignore. So if the compiler is completely going to ignore, why I am writing C program? Comments in a C program is not for the compiler, is not for the C program, but it is for the one who is going to write or read the program. It is for the user or for the person who is going to write the program. For example, now comment, there are two types. The first is a single line comment, that is if I have to tell the compiler that this is a comment, please ignore it, then I have to write this 2 slash, I have to write this is the anything I can write. So the compiler is not going to execute it, it's just for the user, so the user will know what I'm going to do with this program. So this is a single line comment. For multi-line comments, that is the comment is going to be short or is going to be of only one line. If I have to write a comment which is of multiple lines, then I have to start it with slash star and end. If I am writing the comment for 2 lines, then first I will write the comment. See, I've written a multi-line comment. It is 2 lines. My comment is of 2 lines, and I have to start it with slash star and end it with star slash. So whenever the compiler is going to see the star slash star, it will check whether I have star slash the next lines. If it is having, then it will completely ignore these 2 lines. If the compiler sees these 2 slashes, the compiler will completely ignore these 2 lines. So I am writing the comment, just for the person who is going to read the program and will be editing the program after me. If after me somebody is going to read or write this program, they must know what is happening in the particular program. So for them, I'm writing the comment, and I'm not writing the comment for the compiler. So comment is something which the compiler will completely ignore. Most of the times it is used when the program is very long, and if two or more persons are working on the same program and one person has written the code, the other person have to understand what is happening with the code. That is why we use the comments. So do not have to worry about anything if we write anything wrong in this comment, because it will completely ignore it seeing these signs. So just have to remember, this is a single line comment, 2 slashes, and for the multi-line comment you have slash, star, and star slash. So this was all about today's video. We have seen variables, keywords, data types, and comments in C and C++. In the upcoming videos, you will see more programs based on conditions and many other concepts. So thank you so much for watching this video.